My project was titled Angels, Demons, and the Afterlife. It was a theological and literary investigation on the different aspects of heaven, hell, purgatory, but also on the two topics of angels and demons. The purpose of it was to explore the different types, so heaven, hell, and purgatory from a Catholic perspective, but also from a literary perspective. So we read a little bit of John Milton's Paradise Lost, and we investigated the different themes of the afterlife in there, as well as the creatures in it. We also did a lot of work with Dante's Divine Comedy, so we went through Paradiso, Purgatorio, and Inferno. The entire project was kind of a perspective on not just what it was, but how it could interact with our lives, and so what it meant to know about purgatory and heaven and hell, but also angels and demons and those kind of like what seem to be fairy tales or fiction in our world, and how from a theological perspective the truth behind them and what they do with our lives around us. The format, it was a student-led seminar, so I did most of the work. I had a professor who interacted with me. That was Dr. Frederick Bauerschmidt. He's a theology professor here at Loyola. We set up the program through a proposal, which kind of provided a mini syllabus with learning aims. Once the project got approved and everything, we met once a week for most weeks throughout the semester. I had 6 students in my seminar who participated, and I led a seminar. So for 50 minutes I had the board, and we went through and we discussed whatever the topic was for the day. Mostly I preferred having it be a discussion-based seminar rather than me talking to 6 people for an hour. So we had a lot of discussion involved with our project. I didn't know what to expect when it came to like teaching my peers. I didn't know what to expect as I continued my research throughout what was going on. As it came to the day-to-day, just the experience and the emotions that came through the process of teaching was different, and that's something that surprised me a little bit. But I think there wasn't anything not advertised in the program. I knew what I was getting into, and I wanted to come into the program to be able to get teaching experience, an experience of writing a syllabus, an experience of working with other professors to help me, and with researching a topic to go through to be able to continue and continue on to teach it. So that's what I expected and hoped for out of the program. I wouldn't say the process was difficult, but it required work. I had to set up I had to provide all of the information necessary. I came up with I worked with Dr. Bauerschmidt, who helped me set up my proposal. The proposal, being able to think about a class itself was, again, I don't say it's difficult because I think for me, I knew what I wanted to do. I had my kind of topic set and prepared. Eschatology, or the study of the afterlife, is something I've been very interested in for a while, so this is something that I wanted to investigate more deeply and had already begun my research, so I knew what I wanted, and I think that that's what the difficult part of the proposal is, figuring out what the class would be. But if you have that idea and you know that, then it's more work than it is difficult. So it's just putting together a proposal, finding a professor to work with you to kind of refine the proposal and to work through it to make sure that it sounds, I guess, professional, but mostly so that it's something that's acceptable and fits the learning aims of the Center for Humanities. So that was I guess, the hard work in putting in it, but I wouldn't say it's particularly difficult. My professor, Dr. Bauerschmidt, he very much helped me with the structure of everything that went down. He kind of sat me down and we talked about what I wanted to teach out of the class, what I wanted to investigate, and then he helped me. He didn't helped me write the student learning aims. I wrote them, and then he worked with me, and he kind of talked through with me on, well, is this what you want to convey, is the idea of what you're trying to get through? What is this an idea that you really want to convey through it? And so he kind of helped me refine the student learning aims and the different aspects of the proposal, and then he was just there. He mostly let me do all of the work when it came to it, and I went to him with any questions I needed, and if for any advice on teaching. There's one topic that I had particular difficulty approaching, and he kind of helped me work through it. The most significant thing that I learned was how to adapt to a new situation. For me, the first class that I taught was awkward, and not entirely awkward, I think, from everyone else's perspective, but from my perspective, because these were all of my peers. I mean, I had to convince some of my friends to take the class, so I knew all of the people decently intimately. So it was awkward for me to be teaching people in a very kind of like structured situation, and so to kind of adapt into that environment on the fly, as I was also trying to logically, or I guess reasonably, explain something that was completely out of this world, very literally, was interesting at the most. I learned that putting the work in, like that, doing the kind of grit, getting down and making sure to go through the research one more time, to go through the readings one more time, to kind of pick out the little details of what's going on, really helped with what the aspect is. And I guess the final thing that I learned is communication. One thing that I did really well, I think, through the program was I sat down with every single one of the people that I was working with at least once throughout the semester and at the end of the semester to ask them how they were doing, what they thought about the class, how they thought I was doing, what I could have done better, what I could be doing better, what they thought I did really well that I could kind of refine a little bit better. Communication, just being open and honest about everything. If you need help, ask for it. I think that this program is something that is very beneficial from both the participant and leader side of things. I really enjoyed being a leader and having the opportunity to work with Dr. Osteen, Mrs. Ingram, my professor, Dr. Bauer-Schmidt, but then also with my peers to kind of explore these new realms of academia. I am excited to see if we're able to work with the College Board in getting this to go for student credit, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I think that this is an experience that all of the people that participated in mine really enjoyed and worked through. But also, it was an opportunity to delve outside of our realms of thinking, because most, except for one other person in the seminar, we're not theology thinkers, and so to think theologically, and neither English majors, so to think from an English perspective and a literary perspective, to look at Milton and Dante was very interesting, and I think a very valuable investigation in our academic careers. I knew that this would be an opportunity for me to get a little bit of experience in teaching, an experience of writing my own syllabus and writing kind of my own course that out of nothing, and to have this experience is something that I knew would be very beneficial for me. Just to know where I feel, or sorry, to know where I am and how I feel about teaching is something that I wanted to get out of this experience, and I know that it is beneficial and that it's something that I'm going to be getting, that I have gotten and can move forward with. Aside from that, doing the research, knowing my topic and knowing the different areas that I had to kind of go deeper in my knowledge in, but also to get outside knowledge, things that I hadn't researched or studied before, to be able to have to go through that before being able to know it to a point where I could teach someone else. That was extremely beneficial to me, and I know that if I further move forward with my academic career in terms of getting a master's degree and possibly a doctorate, research is something that I have done and will continue doing, and this was just interesting to not be researching for a grade for once.